It's not just for pancakes anymore. Maple syrup is moving beyond breakfast in a big way. Amid a record-setting harvest, the maple syrup industry is setting its sights on everything from cheese to pastries, even water. Here with the story is WSJ reporter Ellen Byron. Hi, Ellen. Great to see you. So tell us about some of the amazing products that maple syrup is turning into.
They're trying very hard to break away from pancakes, and so they want to be a drizzle on your fruit and in your coffee. They're making maple cream, condiments for your barbecue, even oysters on the half shell.
And cocktails?
And cocktails and maple
foie gras. Amazing.
Foie gras and vinaigrette.
Amazing. It's so funny. I have no problem with maple syrup as a sweetener, but the savory aspect of it escapes me a little bit. Is that a bit of a stretch, or did you personally taste some things in the savory spectrum that convinced you?
I did.
Okay.
In my reporting,
yes.
Of course, tasting needed to be part of the story.
Of course.
And they are really hoping to capitalize on this movement among consumers to have more natural sweeteners and more whole foods. And maple syrup is what comes out of a tree. It's a whole food. You can track it right back to the actual farm where it comes from, and that is increasingly in demand.
Absolutely. And where does the bulk of the world's maple syrup come from?
More than 70% of the world's supply comes from Quebec.
Ah, okay.
And Canada overall is about 76%. The U.S., however, most producers are in Vermont.
Now, why is production booming right now?
Yeah, this is actually a big moment in the maple syrup production world. Canada had a record-setting harvest, as did the U.S., the biggest in recorded history. That goes back to 1916. And the reason why, the temperature was very favorable to harvest. The nights were cold and the days were warm in the early spring, and that really helped sap flow. There's also better tapping technology and more people getting into the market.
Look, as someone who buys a lot of maple syrup for my kids who love it for breakfast anyway, I know that it's also quite expensive though. So is this excess of supply going to bring the prices down a little bit?
According to the people I spoke with, no. I talked to an economist at the USDA, and so far the prices have been quite steady, in part because demand is rising.
Now, tell us how it is produced exactly, because it's tricky, right?
Yes. So a maple tree, needs to be roughly 40 years old. And then the tree is tapped by a sugar maker, and the sap flows directly from the tree, and to make syrup, that sap is boiled down. It takes about 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup.
That's a lot of sap. Now, is the sugar in maple syrup considered any healthier than refined sugar?
Some people say yes, because it is all natural and it is much less processed than even other natural sweeteners.
All right, now you brought some of these cool products with you, including maple syrup water.
Yes, this is actually sap. There is one ingredient in this drink.
All right, well, let's give it a try.
Sure.
Cheers. Thank you for bringing.
This is much less sweet than syrup, and it also doesn't have a viscous consistency.
It's delicious. I was a little dubious, but I have to say this is quite lovely. And what is the other product you brought with you?
This is an example of maple syrup makers trying to be innovative with their packaging.
I see.
So this producer, Butternut Mountain Farm, feels that the fancy bottles of pure maple syrup get hidden back in the pantry until your mother-in-law comes over for brunch. And so they introduced an ergonomic plastic bottle so that you will use this and reach for it every day just like you would a ketchup bottle.
A ketchup bottle, of course. Well, this is fantastic. Ellen Byron, as someone who loves maple syrup, as I said, I'm certainly going to give some of these products a try. Thank you so much for that.